All right, welcome to the video, and you see the comment. And me personally, I don't agree with none of this. And I don't know if it's a difference in worldview or what, but let's talk about this for a minute. And I mean really talk, not the goofy hashtag talk that we do. I'm not even talking about the fake and performative activism talk either, just real talk. Because there's plenty of things that nobody outside of us control for us. And the reason we like to dodge that part of the conversation is because, I don't know, maybe it's because once we admit what we actually have control, a lot of you will lose your favorite excuses. Like, take behavior. Nobody wakes any of us up. Nobody forces our tone. Nobody forces us to talk crazy to people when we don't have to. Because I've seen two people get disrespected in the exact same way, only for one to walk away from the shit and then for the other one to crash out and blame the world. Face the same pressure, differences in self-control. That ain't the system or the white man, that's your temperament. You have full control over that. And then accountability, how we see that word get called hating so fast the shit is damn near impressive. Like how you can tell somebody the truth and suddenly you're now jealous, bitter, or brainwashed. But those same people have no problem letting other people openly disrespect them, and then they'll end it with, well, that's just how they are. No, it isn't. That's what we allow. And then don't even get me started on sex and kids. How we act like babies just magically appear out of nowhere like parking tickets. Like we haven't seen grown men raw dogging chaos and then saying they got trapped. Like we haven't seen grown women ignore every red flag, warning sign, pattern, and then act surprised when the situation turns unstable. Yeah, those are all choices. You have full control over that. Because nobody forced that bed choice on you. Condoms and contraceptives are not outlawed anywhere, and vetting a person for their character isn't banned anywhere on this planet. At least not to my knowledge. And then you want to call that oppression. That's not oppression, that's you giving in to your impulses. And then the kids, they end up paying for it. Like how we love to blame the schools, but we also seem to forget that the schools don't decide our kids' bedtimes. We also like to blame social media too, like it's TikTok telling your kids to slick talk adults and then think it's cute. That's something the house either does or doesn't do. Because I've seen it just like some of y'all. You see these kids wilding out while they parents laughing about the shit. But then those same parents will be crying later on when the streets show no mercy to their kids. Again, we have full control over that too. Because if you don't raise your kids, the streets will, and the streets don't love them. Culture, got full control over that. Don't even get me started. Because culture ain't pushed, it's paid for. Because we decide what's cool, right? We decide who gets clapped for. All in our control. Because I've seen the same dudes get called lame for wanting stability, peace, and marriage. But let somebody brag about some dysfunctional shit, cheating, drama, and suddenly they keeping it real. We got control over that too. And then we wonder why real peace is damn near non-existent. How we say we support black men, but what we really mean is we only support certain kinds of black men. He either got to be entertaining, angry, or broken. But let that same man be disciplined, quiet, grounded. Now all of a sudden he's acting white or acting funny. Got control over that too. Because I felt that shift myself personally. Where I walked into rooms where I was once celebrated until I stopped performing for everybody. Even with women, we do the same sideways nonsense with them too. How we allow their trauma to become a damn hall pass for bad behavior. Hell, how bad behavior gets rebranded as empowerment. But don't you dare open your mouth and say anything about accountability, otherwise they'll tell you attacking all women. Which is straight bullshit because it doesn't protect women. It just keeps them in that same dysfunctional ass cycle. And then how we manage money, that tells another story. Because you can't blame racism for your impulse spending. Nobody told your dumbass to finance a new pair of rims instead of repairing your credit. Nobody made flex culture mandatory. How we like to clown saving and investing and then celebrate debt like it's our personality. Again, we got control over that too. Because what a lot of people don't seem to understand is money doesn't just disappear. It simply follows whatever your priorities are. Conflict resolution, we got control over that, and man, please. We've seen too many disagreements end with beef, threats, or public clowning. Most recent example is Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels. In our pride, it stays undefeated. Because nobody wants to be the bigger person because, according to us, being loud gets you more respect than having self-control. And that reflex wasn't written into law or policies. It was learned. It was conditioning. Then there's the stuff that we refuse to challenge. Because every community has lies that it protects. You see, with us, it's trauma excuses everything. Criticism is now hate. Now isn't the time. But it's funny how it's never the time. Because a lot of us think being silent is being neutral. No, you being silent is you agreeing with it. And then men, we keep dodging that part too. Masculinity, leadership, fatherhood, discipline. How we want strong men, but we hate the process that makes them. Because I'm going to be a man and call that out. A lot of you brothers want leadership without responsibility, and you want authority without accountability. You can't outsource your masculinity to the white man of the system. Because when men don't lead, chaos steps up real confidently, and we saw that for the past 50 to 60 years in the black community. Let that sink in. And then here's the real kicker. The one that folks like to get real quiet about. The moral selectivity. That also we have control over. Because we know right from wrong, we just switch the rules depending on who's involved. Because if I'm correct, y'all remember last year how a lot of black people were saying, how could any black person support a criminal like Donald Trump? Only for those same people to celebrate when Big Meech got released from prison. I thought being a criminal was a bad thing. I thought supporting a criminal is a bad thing. That type of shit makes us look like fucking hypocrites. Again, we have full control over that. Nobody's making us do anything. Because on one hand, if the system does something dirty, we want justice immediately, and rightfully so. But if somebody in our community does the exact same dirt, suddenly the shit is complicated. It needs context. You don't know what they've been through. Same fucked up behavior, different excuses. You see, stealing is wrong unless it's coming from a corporation. Lying is always wrong unless it protects somebody that we like. And then abuse, it's unacceptable unless the shit is emotional or domestic, and then we like to minimize it. And that switch, it don't flip by itself. We flip it manually. And I'm not trying to get on anybody because I had to check myself on this too. Because I've stayed quiet to avoid smoke. I let stuff slide because I didn't want to be isolated. And that wasn't the fear of the system or some white man. That was fear of social punishment from my own damn people. And then there's the final part, the spiritual part. Because what you bow down to runs you. You can either bow down to God or you can bow down to your ego. You can either bow down to the truth or you can bow down to your comfort. And then you could either bow down to principle or you can bow down to popularity. There's no external power that's making us abandon our moral spine. That's voluntary. We have full control over that. So, yeah, oppression is real. History is real. Systems matter. But control, that's not all or nothing. Because a lot of you don't seem to understand two things can be true at the same time. Because you can be oppressed and undisciplined. You can be exploited and you can sabotage your damn self. But real growth, it starts where the excuses ended, and I'm tired of making them. And that's why this conversation stays off the mic and it doesn't go viral anywhere. Because once we admit what we actually do control, we actually got to start changing now. And us changing, it costs way more than complaining ever did. So you're absolutely wrong with this. Black people have far more control than we actually tell ourselves. You might want to reject the programming and conditioning that we went through, because that's the issue. We have far more control than we tell ourselves. But anyway, like the video, leave a comment, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.